So the final assignment. Final assignment is based on everything in assessment number 2. And assessment number 2, what you guys have done in terms of putting it down as an assignment, putting it down as a report, we're now going to create a presentation out of it. So this will be presented in the last week of this semester, and let's run through what I expect in each of the slides, and then work out a few of the other things that are quite critical as well. So I'm going to read this out. In week 12 of the course, you'll be required to give an oral presentation of the results from assessment number 2, assessment task 2. Develop a presentation plan, ensuring that you develop presentation slides, cue cards, and other visual aids such as videos. So you have a full array of things that you can use. Include your thoughts about body language, voice projection, and how the room is set up. You know, here you are presenting to, it could be a group of, you're presenting to the class, but your information could be used by coaches, it could be used by other sports scientists. So that's the type of presentation you're providing. Your presentation needs to be a minimum of the following for each of the assessments. Let's run through what those are now. So the first thing for assessment number 2, you need to have a title slide. So a title slide might be, and what we can do is use an example. We can use an example from your assignment, and we'll run through that, then you get to see what it's like. So in your title slide, what are you going to put in there?
Name and what I'm doing.
That's right. So in that, the name of, say, you can include your athlete. Your athlete. Who was your athlete?
Nick.
Nick, and how old was he? Was that
21.
21-year-old male, Nick. 21-year-old male. Yeah. What was his sport?
I did bodybuilding.
Bodybuilding. Bodybuilder. What else can we put in that title slide that would then help us build this story up?
Probably the annual plan or something like that.
What you could say is, Nick, 21-year-old bodybuilder who wants to then improve on something. What was that thing that he wanted to improve on?
Bench press.
Bench press. So you can see what you've done in your assignment. You're just pulling out the key bits. And here is the title page, or this is the introduction. Sorry, that's the title page. In the introduction, which is next, that's the next slide. Introduction. What would we put in here?
Probably more of a brief of what this whole entire plan, like you just briefly mentioned, macro, and so was it?
And the mesos.
Yeah, meso.
In here, in the introduction, we want to delve into his issues a little bit more. So in the introduction, you're talking about him as a bodybuilder, and his main issues. So bodybuilder, bench press, and we want to delve into that a little bit more, saying what his major problems are and what his aims are going to be. Main problems and aims. What were his main problems? I can't remember. Main problems and aims? What did he want to achieve?
He wasn't able to fully drop the bar to the chest. Well, his aim was for muscle hypertrophy, but to do that, you have to get the bar in the chest.
Main problem, lack of range. Yeah.
Yeah.
And aims was muscle hypertrophy. Right.
Yeah.
Here, you can put in and I recommend you do this, an in-text citation. So this would be 2, this would be in-text citation, in-text citation, why this would then help that. Why it can help. That's why you want to place that in-text citation there. This is in very, very small writing. It's down the bottom. If normally the text size is something like 28 to 40, this one might only be 10 to 12. It's just right down the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay. That's your introduction. So already you're building a story saying you're working with Mick, a 21-year-old bodybuilder who wants to improve his bench press. His main problems are that he has a lack of range, talk about the shoulder range, and his aims are to improve muscle hypertrophy. Good. Next slide. What would we put in next?
Probably like the testing.
Next, I'll put here assessment, the pre. What were his pre-assessment tests? What did you find?
So I did a 1 rep max strength.
How many were there for you? For him?
I think I did 4.
4. Okay. So 1 rep max. Oops. Yep, 1 rep max. What else?
Form, just like without any weight, just form.
Form, yep. That's bad. Form, number 3.
Shoulder flexibility.
Shoulder flexibility.
Internal and external rotation for rotator cuff.
Rotator cuff, internal and external rotation. Units. And then you put your units there. Can you remember the figures?
I think it was 80, 1 rep max.
80 kilos. Yep. Form.
It was like, it's kind of like
It was the arch of the back.
Yeah.
So, what was the number? I can't remember what you
I
put
think
down.
it's like 20 degrees or something.
20 degrees. 20 degrees. And you talk about the arch of the back.
Yeah.
Shoulder flexibility.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think it was like, I think it was probably like 70.
70 degrees. Rotator cuff, internal rotation, external rotation.
I can't remember off the top of my Sorry.
We'll just make
Yeah.
make up the numbers. 20 degrees, external rotation, 45 degrees. Okay? And that's your pre-assessment. All of this is then you mark, and these are in-text citations. Because what you're saying is the research shows that because of the research, I looked at this because when a person improves this, they improve this and this. Okay? So that's where that in-text citation comes in, and put it right down the bottom. Or in the presentation you say, look, the research shows that this happens, and
So
then
what
you
do
can say your
say like
references.
in-text citations, just like just the article, or you want like the quote?
No, just the article. Yeah,
Yes.
just the reference.
Yeah.
Okay. When I say in-text citation, it's a reference.
Yeah.
All right. That is the pre-testing for the assessment. After that, what are we going to do?
Show the post-testing one. So.
To show the post, I'd probably recommend showing your intervention first, because that has a natural, nice flow to it. Because you have the assessment pre, you've built up a story, here's the problem with this person, or here's the person, here's the problem, here's the sport, here's what he needs, here are the tests, and here you can also put down whether, in terms of limitation from norm, because you can then compare it to the literature. So you can say, oh, this is down by 15%, this is down by 10%, okay, this is down by 2%, this is down by only 5%, and this is down by 12%. So then the person who's listening gets to see where they're at. Okay. Then the next one then is the intervention. Next is your assessment. Next is your intervention. Intervention, what's the first thing you're going to show with the intervention?
The macro plan.
Macro plan. Macro, big macro plan. Okay? Macro. What was your macro?
So it was 6 months strength training and bulking, and 6 months cutting.
12 months.
Yeah.
12 months. You have, 12 months. You have to share why it was 12 months. And that's a reference. Okay? Or in-text citation. Because you have to say why you chose that 12 months. That's very important. So that's there. That's your 12 month. Just a chart,
Yeah.
right? After that, what do you show after that?
Menso. What was it again?
Yeah. Once again, intervention. Did you have a meso? I can't remember.
Yeah, I had a bunch of meso ones. Yeah.
Meso. Meso?
Yeah.
How many meso stages?
I think there was like 3 or 4 different ones.
Yep. So you broke it down. Once again, chart. And
Reference.
why reference. Okay? Intervention. And what is it asking for next?
The microcycle.
Microcycle. How long was your microcycle?
Yeah. It was 1 week. Like,
Yeah. intervention, microcycle. Once again, 1 week. For you, it was 1 week. Every athlete's different, every sport's different.
Yeah.
Why you chose yours, why you chose, so why is it? Reference. This is where a lot of people miss out on marks.
Okay.
Because they don't say why they've chosen each of these cycles. That's the 1 week. What's next?
Nutrition.
Nutrition. Intervention. Nutrition. Yeah?
Yep.
How long was yours? 1 week?
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Yep. 1 week. And why you chose those things. Reference there. So we did the intervention. After we've done the intervention, what are we going to do?
The discussion / analysis.
Yep, this is, you go back to doing the post testing. Okay? Post testing, because you're proving what you've done has then made an impact. Post testing, what were your 4 tests? 1, 2, so there was the 1 rep max. What else was there?
Form.
Form.
Shoulder flexibility.
Shoulder flexibility.
Then rotator cuff rotation.
Rotator cuff. Internal and external.
Yeah.
External rotation. Here you have let's put this pre, post. Can you just read out those figures again? Pre,
So it's 80,
80,
then 20
20
degrees,
degrees, yep,
then 70 degrees,
70 degrees,
20 degrees,
20 degrees,
and 45 degrees of that.
45. Oh, this was 80 kilos. Yeah, 80 kilos. Post, 1 rep max went up to
100.
100. Form went up
Yeah, I guess like high arch like 35.
35. Shoulder flexion went up.
Yeah.
I'm just going to make this up.
Yeah.
90 degrees, 30 degrees, and let's make that 60 degrees. And here you have the percentage increment up. Okay? So you put the figures in here. X, Y, Z, A, B, whatever that percentage is. And that covers your post-testing presentation or post-testing slide. What happens after that? What do we do?
I guess I could summarize.
Analysis and discussion. All right. Just as it says on that, discussion, analysis, and evaluation of your results. So discussion. What would you say in your discussion?
This improved, I guess, like what improved and I guess further, what could further be improved?
First of all, were the goals met? Yeah? Were the goals met? Were the goals met? Aims? Were they reached? Any opportunities? Future? So, after what you've done, anything else that we can look at to help him? Because you looked at things like flexibility to build his to build up muscle bulk. Is there anything else that he can do? And any limitations? Any limitations to what you're doing or what you have done? Were there any limitations? You can quite easily say, look, across the 12 months, these were some of the issues that he had. He was busy with his work, or he was busy with his study. Sometimes there were compliance issues. You can say things like that under limitations. And what's the final slide? So thank you and reference list.
I think my reference might go for a couple of slides.
That's okay. You won't be presenting on that slide.
Yeah.
It's just there listed, and you can say, I mean, the thank you is probably when I've done the presentations, it's usually the thank you that's big, and then say, well, here's my reference list if anyone wants to access that. Because no one's really going to sit there waiting until they can access it there and then in the presentation. At least it's there for people to then go and use. Yeah. Okay. So how many slides have we got overall? From there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 slides. So we have a total of 10 slides in this example. 10 slides. I'm a big fan of less is more, meaning you keep the words on your slides down to a minimum. If there's too many words in the slides, then people aren't following you, they're just reading slides. And that makes for a very, very boring presentation. Use diagrams. In this case, you can use charts, tables, and then you're talking about the tables. And it's then just easier to follow. What's the maximum time period I've given for this?
10 minutes.
10 minutes. 10 minutes max. Anything more, I cut you off. All right? So anything more, I cut people off. You get 10 minutes to present, and that's that. And I think you can get through all of this in that time period. I feel a lot of people in past presentations have taken less than that, but 10 minutes is max.